everyone, I'm Joy Chu, a former scientist turned content creator, and the goal of my YouTube channel is to help people discover the joy of cooking with science. After baking lots of pita last time and practically turning my entire apartment into a furnace, I decided to switch to something that involves way less cooking. For this week's video, I'm making cold sesame noodles. What's great about this Sichuan dish is that it's so easy to make, but absolutely the opposite of boring. You've got so many flavors: nutty, sweet, salty, sour, umami, and spicy, and lots of creamy, crunchy textures. It's truly the best kind of party in your mouth. My recipe is adapted from Lucas Sin, chef at Junzi Kitchen, and you can get it by subscribing to my free Substack newsletter. So before I start, I want to mention that what I'm making is not traditional at all, but adding some of those extra ingredients will make your sauce so delicious that you might just end up eating it by itself. Oh wait, that might just be me, but regardless, I promise it'll be really tasty. For the sauce, the main ingredient is Chinese sesame paste. To make the paste, I take 1 cup of toasted sesame seeds and pulse them in a food processor until finely ground. Then I add in 2 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil and continue processing until the mixture is thick and creamy. I'm going to transfer the sesame paste I just made, about 1/3 cup, to another bowl and mix the paste with 1.5 tablespoons of white or shiro miso. The miso is going to help make the paste smoother and add depth of flavor and umami. You might have heard of the term umami, but you might not know exactly what it is. It's basically savoriness that's different from saltiness. In more sciencey terms, it's a taste sensation that's triggered by the amino acid glutamate and other compounds in high-protein foods, such as inosinate. So remember that saltiness comes from salt, and umami comes from protein. Next, I'm going to whisk everything else in. We're adding 3.5 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil for more nuttiness, 2 tablespoons of Chinese black vinegar for sourness, 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar for sweetness, 2 tablespoons of light soy sauce for saltiness and umami, and finally something genius that Lucas adds: Japanese Kewpie mayonnaise for a bit more tanginess and even more umami. While I see the mayonnaise as a great excuse to add tons of umami, it also helps to emulsify the sauce, basically keeping all of the fatty and water-based ingredients together so that they don't separate. To top this all off, you can season to taste with a large pinch of salt, some chili oil, and a splash of mirin to add some sweet malted flavor to our exciting flavor party. Once you're done making the sauce, you'll want to taste it to get the flavors to your liking. Based on my recipe, you'll get mostly savory and tangy with a little bit of sweet and spicy. But depending on your preference, you may want to adjust the ingredients to get the flavor profile you want. Now that I've made my creamy sauce, I'm going to cook the noodles. I use Taiwanese guanmiao noodles, but you can use any type of Asian thin wheat noodles. I'm going to boil some water in this pot and cook 9 ounces of noodles for about 4 minutes per the package instructions. So while the noodles are cooking, here's something interesting to think about. Have you ever wondered why dry noodles turn sticky and shiny after you cook them in hot water? This happens because of a process called starch gelatinization. The noodles contain starch granules, which act like pouches that have starch molecules inside. When you boil the noodles, hot water goes into the granules, causing them to swell and rupture. The starch molecules then leak out and form something like a gel, which is that shiny, sticky stuff that coats the noodles, and also the thick, cloudy stuff that we find in pasta water. Now here's an important tip I learned from Lucas. To chill the noodles, you should not rinse them in cold water. That's going to wash away all of the gelatinized starches that will help your sauce stick to the noodles and give them flavor. Instead, lay the cooked noodles out on a large baking sheet, add about 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, and mix the noodles and oil thoroughly. The oil will keep the noodles from clumping together as they cool, so have fun and get your hands all messy here. You can let the noodles rest at room temperature or in the fridge if you're pressed for time. Once the noodles are fully chilled, I'll just add them here on this plate and drizzle some of the sesame sauce and more chili oil. Then I like to add some garnishes like thinly sliced scallions, toasted sesame seeds that are coarsely ground, and some cucumber slivers. I know this all seems like a lot of flavors and textures, but trust me, they all go together really well. So now that we're done plating these noodles, it's time to eat. Bon appetit! There aren't that many dishes I feel strongly about, but this is a dish I could definitely see myself getting addicted to. It is so good. You've got the creamy and the cooling cucumber that contrasts with the spiciness of the chili oil. It's like this really nice intrigue going on in this dish that, yeah, that is really, really, really good. Thanks for watching. For the recipe, subscribe to my free Substack newsletter to get the full version with notes. If you like this video and want to keep learning more about the science of everyday cooking, like and subscribe to my channel below. Definitely make these cold sesame noodles for your next easy home-cooked meal, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks.